What's going on, fellow devs? In today's video we are going to do LeetCode problem number 28, and it's called find the index of the first occurrence in a string. This is an easy question, and its description is given two strings, needle and haystack. We want to return the index of the first occurrence of needle and haystack, or -1 if needle is not a part of haystack. So real quick, in our input example we have haystack equals sad but sad and needle equals sad. So we see that sad does exist within the first three characters of sad but sad, and then we want to return the first index of the first character in needle, which would be s, so we return 0. So let's jump over to the IDE. I've just got this code copied in here, and I'm returning -1 by default, because if we can't find needle and haystack we want to return -1. So the first thing I want to do is just make some variables for haystack.length. I'll call it h, and then we'll do one for needle.length. I'll call it n, and the next one I'm going to call it say max index to check, and what this is going to be is it's going to equal h minus n. And the reason for that is because once we get to this index, once we have haystack minus the length of the needle, then we know that needle could not possibly exist within haystack anymore because there aren't enough characters for it to exist. So essentially that's what max index to check is. And after that, we're going to want to do a for loop and loop through haystack up to our max index to check. So we'll do that. I is less than or equal to our max index to check, increment I. And so essentially what we're doing here is we're looking for a substring of haystack, right? So needle is going to be the substring that we're looking for, and we know that in Java, string objects has a substring method on it. So what we'll do is we'll create a variable to store this substring that we're going to create, that we're trying to find for essentially needle in a haystack. So I'm just going to call it substring to check. I know these are long names, but I just want it to be kind of readable and explainable. And then this is going to equal haystack dot substring, and I'm just going to put some numbers in here real quick so I can hover over this and look at this method for you guys. So here we have our substring method on a string, and it returns a string that is a substring of this string. And it takes two parameters. So we see the beginning index, and it's inclusive, meaning that that index is included in the substring. And it's important because you see on our end index, which is the second parameter, it's exclusive. So the end index will not be included in that substring. To give an example, if we look at substring for smiles, right, 1, it starts at 1, so it's going to be the m right here, and it ends at 5, so 1 2 3 4 5. So because the ending index is exclusive, it's not going to include that s, and you see right here that it returns mile. So hopefully that makes sense to you. But the beginning index that we're going to use is I, and then the ending index is going to be I plus n, which is our needle.length. So, and essentially every time we increment I, we're going to create a new substring, which is going to be down here. If you look at sad but sad, so it's going to be I plus n is going to be these three characters, and we're essentially shifting it over every time we increment I to look for our needle. And in this case, it's just the first three characters. So what we want to do next is, once we do have our substring, we want to evaluate whether it is equal to our needle, right? So we'll just do a simple if statement here, and if our substring to check dot equals our needle, then we're done, and we can simply just return I. And if we go through this loop and we don't find needle, again we just fall out and return -1, because we know that it doesn't exist within haystack. So that's pretty much it. It's a pretty simple question. I am gonna just run this first input again here, so we should get index 0, because sad is right here. So let me click run, and you see we do have 0. So let's copy this code and let's put it into LeetCode. submit it. And there we go. 0 milliseconds really fast. Memory's fine. But yeah, just a quick way to kind of brush up on substrings. And if you found like a interesting solution or a more optimal solution, I would be interested in seeing it in the comments. And thanks for watching.